Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 86. I'm Ian Scott.
And I'm Zach Huber.
And this is the podcast where we talk about movie and TV topics from the last week, get into you all this week. And after our little brief hiatus, we got a few exciting topics to talk to you about and a couple of trailers.
Yeah, we are going to talk about the Freakier Friday trailer that came out recently through Disney with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. As well, we have some casting news regarding Spider-Man 4, where Sadie Sink has been cast. So we're going to have some speculation about who she might be playing.
Indeed.
We have a lot of comments that came out of the Russo brothers over the past, 2 weeks or so.
Probably mostly Joe, right?
I don't know. It just says like every single time I see a notification, it's like Russo brothers say this, so I never know which one it is.
It feels like Joe's mostly the one talking, but
is he like the one
he's the one who's always acting?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably him.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I ever hear from the other one.
No,
from
never.
Anthony.
Yeah, never.
Which is fine.
That's fine. Let him chill.
Yeah. But yeah, they had a lot to say, mostly regarding the upcoming Avengers movies. And the last topic that we're going to talk about is Daniel Craig is being eyed to star as Uncle Andrew Ketterly, who is kind of, I wouldn't say it's a deep, dive character into Narnia, but it isn't. Like, he's kind of a deep cut, but he's also kind of not.
Mean, you would have had to have read multiple books to get to that point.
Yeah,
in the series. So
unless you read it in chronological order, like in
order of the timeline,
in the order of the timeline, I guess. But we'll get into that. The first trailer that we're gonna start the podcast off with today is the Lilo and Stitch live action trailer came out. I think me and Ian have had some pretty strong thoughts about remakes of beloved animated classics, most significantly talking about the Disney live actions that continue to be made
year after year.
Snow White just came out and
receiving glowing reviews.
I mean, by all accounts, it's what is it, like 45%? So like,
sure,
majority don't like it, but there's also a good amount of people who do enjoy it. So it's kind of in that sort of close to that Captain America, like Brave New World thing, where I was like, not a great movie, but it wasn't terrible. Like, some people have said good things. I think there's been a lot of criticism about there has been criticism, but anyways, like with this movie, that's this trailer. I mean, Stitch looks great.
He sounds great because you got the original voice actor, so that's amazing.
He sounds great.
Visually looks great.
I think the actress they got for Lilo, as I don't know. I think it obviously in the movie, that's the where she's either gonna like shine or not or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, so far, like, I don't hate her. I don't love her. She's also like a kid, so I feel kind of like weird even like talking about it. But at some point she does like sometimes she gives facial expressions that I'm like, that she really does look like Lilo. Like, I could imagine like a live action Lilo.
Yeah, she looks like Lilo. I can't say her personality necessarily matches for me yet. Like, to me, Lilo is a bit of like a rebellious young kid,
Yeah.
And she seems very like wholesome and good natured. Maybe we'll see that more in the movie.
Yeah.
But I also, I think they're dynamic. Like, from what I can see so far, it seems nice. It just doesn't seem as great as like what we got in 2002,
Agreed. Yeah.
And there's some I watched a side by side of like shots from the original movie and the trailer, and there are some shots that are just like so much better in the animated. Like, them surfing is like so beautiful and animated, and then here it's just like, they're surfing, they're just riding some light waves. yeah, when Stitch like lands and you got like all the green smoke, like that's a great scene in the original movie. Here it looks fine. It doesn't look bad, but it's not reaching the exact visual standards, of the animated.
Yeah. I think that's the basic thing when I watch it is I love the original. This kind of feels more or less cut and dry, just trying to redo what the original did.
Yeah.
But
a little worse.
and it just doesn't feel as it doesn't feel as good. It doesn't seem as charming. And this is all based on a trailer.
Right.
But
I mean, the trailer song helped. It's like the wasn't that Elvis's, like?
I think so. Yeah.
So like that was an original song from the movie, not an original song, you know what I mean, but it was in the original movie.
Yeah, Elvis came back from the dead and
yeah, made that song in 2002. Yeah, for sure.
It's actually an AI Elvis that they implemented for this movie.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't even in the original movie.
No, this is government technology that they're finally letting out to the public that they first used on.
Oh, so they've had AI for 20 years.
They've had AI for 20 years. Well, actually over 20 years because that was in 2002.
Yeah,
and they tested it out to see how well they could fool audiences into thinking it was an Elvis song.
Yeah.
And they're like, I've never heard of this Elvis song. They're like, yeah, it must have been a deep cut or something. I've never heard it.
It's not a deep cut. Yeah.
But it looks fine. I hesitate. Like, I might see it. I might just because I do like Lilo and Stitch, but I also when I look at this, I'm like, I don't know if I want to support just another remake. You know what I mean?
Right. I'll tell you what I'm not happy with though. For sure. Like I think I'm with a lot of people on this when I don't think like the aliens like Dr. Jokiba and Pleakley, like I don't think they're gonna be done as well. And I hate the fact that they have these like devices that give them like human disguises. Like that sucks.
Yeah. I don't like that at all.
No, yeah, I mean that was so fun to see them like try to dress and act like normal people, and now it's just I feel like that's just gone. And then I definitely don't like
that we know of. Maybe like the device malfunctions and they have to
hopefully,
do that.
I don't like the actor. I mean, like he's not terrible, but I don't love the Cobra Bubbles guy.
I don't know. I mean, again, it's just like
he's just not nearly as good. Is my thing. I mean,
we saw him for. I mean, can we really say that we saw him for like what 2 seconds?
It's just I don't know. It's hard to like. I feel like, what was his name? Was it Vin Rames or? Gosh, I feel like he would have been great. Yeah, Vin. Yeah, he was. If you remember, he was Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction. That's probably who voiced him the original. I don't even know who voiced him originally. But yeah, I mean, like that to me is like who he looks like, and the guy they have is just not doing it for me, I guess. Yeah. What else did I not?
What's the who's the bounty hunter type character that they have, like the big, scary, tall.
Oh, like
alien?
The big shark dude.
Yeah,
I don't remember his name, to be honest.
Gantu, wasn't it?
Could be.
I think it was Gantu, and that I would be very interested to see how they do his character design. Like, I think that would be kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
In a live action world, but yeah, I don't know. Part of the trailers look really good, but there's also like a sense of that the relationship between Lilo and Stitch and the comedy just like doesn't feel like as
doesn't
fun.
Quite hit, right.
But I reserve the right that it's a trailer and it might be better in the movie.
Yeah. I guess it's a right to worry because like you should be picking the best stuff for the trailer, right? And if that's your best stuff, then what's the rest of the movie going to be like?
I actually don't think that you always use the best stuff in the trailer, because I think if you use the best stuff in the trailer, it's like, well, what is there in the movie to look forward to?
Sure, that's fair, but you're not obviously going to pick the weaker stuff either.
Yeah. No, you would hope not.
Right. But there's some things that I thought looked good. Like I thought like the initial like Stitch breakout, scene on the alien ship and like all the aliens in the ship. I think all that looks good. Like I'm not against any of that. I don't think any of the actors look, like Nani and her boyfriend look fine.
Yeah.
They seem like they're good for the parts. So yeah, I'm not hating it, but it's definitely not like, hitting the good vibes yet.
Yeah. I agree.
This one comes out 2 months, May 23rd. Directed by
close.
Dean Fleischer Camp. The only movie I had seen him do before, but I hadn't seen the movie, is Marcel the Shell.
Yeah. I've yet to watch that, but I do want to.
I really wanted to watch it when it came out. I don't know how I didn't get around to it. It looks so good. But yeah, and then it's written by Chris Kalani Bright and Mike Van Wees, who I couldn't find any writing credits for. So,
and this is, I don't mean this as just a disrespect towards those two people, but because you do have to, I'm sure you have to you have to change some things with the script a bit when you're translating it to live action, and like maybe you add some different dialogue, but it's like, at what point are you like, it's just an adapted screenplay, and like, do you have to change it that much?
Yeah, I feel like the work, it's not an original screenplay, really. I mean, it's like you're basing it heavily off of it, like another movie that you're remaking. It's just like you don't have to do. I don't think you have to do as much work when writing like a brand new story.
Yeah.
So probably why they got these guys.
So I'm like, I'm not too concerned that I don't know anything else that they've written.
Sure, I mean that's fair. But we might see it. Just due to the fact that it's one of my favorite childhood movies.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it would be like one of the only live action Disney movies that I would actually pay money for.
I don't know if I've seen any live action Disney movies.
I don't think I watched Cruella.
Didn't watch it.
But that was kind of,
and that was an original story, really. Yeah.
Even though it wasn't, but it was.
No, I mean it was. I mean, like she never had an origin story.
No, she didn't. But it was like we're still going back to like old IP.
Sure.
But
at least that's better. I mean, it's
more
more
good.
It's more good. Like what was that one they did with Maleficent? It's more like that, where they do like a different take. See, like I think that's creative and like deserving of a movie, whereas like the remakes I can't say are,
Yeah. That's probably the only one I have watched.
Yeah, I didn't see Lion King. I didn't see
Lion King.
Beauty and the Beast. I've started Beauty and the Beast, and I never got through it.
Never saw Aladdin.
Yeah, never saw Aladdin.
I'm just kind of waiting for it to die.
That's not gonna happen. I didn't see Jungle Book either. The live action Jungle Book.
No.
Yeah.
You don't think it'll die? You don't think they'll stop at some point?
They just keep making money off of it. I mean, like Mufasa just made a ton of money. Like
how much money did it make?
I think it made at least $500 million at the box office.
I mean, yeah, but compared to like the $1 billion that Lion King made.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. No, it made $719 million.
Dang it.
So it made a lot of money. Yeah. $200 million budget.
Damn
made
it.
this money back. Yep. Cool. Yeah, we're not escaping these anytime soon, Zach.
Oh well.
But yeah, now we'll talk about our next trailer here, Freakier Friday. I haven't seen the original since I was a little kid, so had to do a little brushing up on the plot.
I did. I've
Freaky
watched
Friday.
that movie so many times.
Really,
that
really.
I've watched it a good bit. So, like, as
I
a,
think-
I mean, as a kid, but I watched it a lot.
Yeah.
I watched
At
it a lot.
most, I ever saw it like twice. So
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, this to me is like why like I was excited for a bit, but then I was like this. So, anyways,
well,
this
okay.
is one of those movies I'm like, God damn it.
So honestly, like my honest opinion of it is that it's like it's a pretty good concept, and so I'll
What,
kind
the
of walk
original
through it.
movie?
No, this one. So
This one? Oh.
yeah. Okay, so I'll just walk through it for the viewers.
Okay.
So basically, in this one, obviously it's been like 20 years, and now Lindsay Lohan's character has a daughter, and she's Lindsay Lohan is getting married to somebody who also has a daughter, and so like,
Oh, is that who the other girl is?
yes, yeah.
I was like, oh, did
Yeah.
this like exchange student from London, like come stay with them? And they're like, oh shit, I got stuck with the freaks.
Yeah, they don't
Like,
really explain that in the trailer, to be fair.
No, they don't. I was like, who is this
who is that?
person?
Right. So yeah, so that's gonna be her stepdaughter. And so in the trailer, they kind of like, who's the redhead in the beginning from SNL? You know who I'm talking about?
From SN. Oh,
Yeah. Who's the fortune teller? She's great. But
I know who you're talking. It's go on.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking
about.
about.
She basically is like, well, you guys have experienced this before, and it's gonna teach you another lesson. And they're like, okay, that's great. And so yeah, basically the next morning, they all wake up, and Jamie Lee Curtis has swapped bodies with the soon to be stepdaughter,
Vanessa Bayer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so Jamie Lee Curtis swaps bodies with the soon-to-be stepdaughter, or I guess her soon-to-be step granddaughter, and Lindsay Lohan swaps bodies with her daughter, her biological daughter, and so Lindsay Lohan gets like the same experience that like her mom got in the original movie, whereas like Jamie Lee Curtis travels back in time or travels to another teenager's body again. So I don't know. I think you can get like, I think with that storyline, at least with like Jamie Lee Curtis, I think you can get like a good, like, you know how I feel like the young generation now is like super like calling everybody young and like, and everyone's old. Right. And so I feel like they're going to tap into that a bit. Like they'll get some like respect your elders. Old people have value, like I think you can get a decent storyline out of that. And it'll be fun to see kind of Lindsay Lohan play like the role Jamie Lee Curtis was originally, So I think that's the fun you can get out of the story. Yeah. But yeah, I want to hear what you're hating about this.
To me, like the thing that is fun about the original movie with them switching places is because it is their relationship with each other that they're trying to understand each other better.
Right.
And also you have Jamie Lee Curtis playing Lindsay Lohan, and Lindsay Lohan supposed to be Jamie Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very easy, simple concept, and also it's funny because you know how each other is supposed to be,
right?
And granted, that was just in the first movie, and we didn't know how those characters were until we saw them. But now we have granddaughter, but it's also daughter mixed with Lindsay. So Lindsay is going to be playing the daughter, and then
correct,
Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be playing this
her step granddaughter.
Yeah, and then when we see those two are going to be playing, like, to me it's just like
those two are playing Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, right? Yeah.
But then when we see when we see the younger kids, they're going to be playing those in, like, they're going to play the original people, which just seems like how are you guys going to play No, I'm not saying that they can't, but how do you guys?
Sure,
Do you
no,
really think that they're going to be able to play those
right.
two? Especially, do you think one of them is going to be able to match the energy of Jamie Lee Curtis? And now, like Lindsay did a good job, and I think that's what, like in the original one, and I think that it worked well. But to me, it's like it just feels like too many parts trying to like I don't know.
Well, at least they kept the swapping like pretty simple to keep track of.
But but between 4 people just makes things like so much more complicated than it already. Like it wasn't necessarily complicated. It was like an easy thing, but now it's like the relationship and the dynamics between 4 different characters and different bodies.
Right. Look,
some of the trailer, I was like, oh, this could be fun. This could be funny.
Yeah, right.
But I also felt a good amount of like, oh no, this is too much callback. Yeah. This is maybe not going to work like so many like sequels that are like 20 years later tend to be. So I don't know. Look, I love Jamie Lee. Hopefully she can, get some really good bits out of this, and like has some good parts.
Yeah.
I love Lindsay. She hasn't been in a lot of stuff that has been really
Lindsay
good
looks great
lately.
Yeah. Did you see who's going to be the person that Lindsay Lohan's marrying?
Is his name Jake?
No.
Chad Michael Murray?
No, his name is Eric, and Manny Jacinto is playing him.
Manny Jacinto.
That was who played Darth Teeth in The Acolyte.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I saw you get naked in that water on that other planet, and
I'm immediately attracted to you.
I want to be your apprentice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan was in that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I saw him like for a second in the trailer. I don't think he's gonna be that big of a part, but cool to see him, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
Yeah. I've heard I don't know what else he's been in, but I've heard he's a good actor.
Place.
Okay.
Like people liked him in A Good Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I get your point. I think it is worrisome to like give these really fresh actors like the role of playing the personality of like Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan's characters. Like that's huge, and I agree that's really risky, and that's like a reason to be worried. But I don't think the concept is bad.
I think it's like just begging to like fall off the rails just from the beginning, to be completely honest.
Interesting. So but I'm assuming you're still going to see it. No, really? You're still
I don't know.
Because you want to keep like the original like
no, because I don't care about that, because I can always just watch the original.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I don't like like Beetlejuice 2 was like, to me, it was a letdown, but it doesn't take away anything from the original.
Okay.
It's like, oh man, episode 9 of Star Wars was god awful, and now I can never watch the originals or the prequels or whatever again.
Right. It does very slightly ruin the sequel trilogy, but
I mean, it definitely puts a dent in some of those.
Yeah, for sure. But you kind of need an ending to those stories. But I don't know. I might. I'm curious, but there have been some like good comedies that have come out in the 2020s or like the late 2010s. And this one is from a comedy director. I don't know if you've heard of Nisha Ganatra.
What did they do?
She's done Late Night and The High Note.
I don't know
both movies I haven't seen, but I know they're comedies. And then it's written by Jordan Weiss, who did Sweethearts and Dollface. I don't know if you've seen either of those, but some unknowns. Recently coming up like directors and writers. But yeah, this one comes out August 8th. So a summertime vibe movie definitely has the summer vibes.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we'll see.
Like it will be interesting to see what like you put as the teenagers in like environment, like culture, in the 2020s, because like back then it like with Lindsay it was like I listen to like Avril Lavigne and I want to be in,
now we're getting
a band
like
and
this generation's like version of a teenager, and
which could be cool, but it could also
be kind of cringe. Right.
Yeah, it could because like I've yet to see because at least the movies back then, I'm not saying like I don't want to sound like an old head at all. I don't, but like because like when I watched
back in my day,
like Booksmart was like the like was a really great example of how you do like a newer like younger generation, kind of like super bad in a way, and it was really good, and they like I felt like they nailed it. But I'm just like, I don't know if you can like replicate that same sort of like American Pie, Freakier Friday, John Tucker Must Die sort of like high school stuff. I don't know.
I think we at least know though that like Jamie Lee Curtis will kill it. You know, like she'll be a joy to watch. I feel.
I think so. I think she's like the highlight for me for sure.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, I feel like most movies I've seen her in, I think she's great. So, yeah. But yeah, that's our trailer topics of the day. But now we're gonna move on to some Spider-Man news. Spider-Man 4.
Some Spider-Man news.
Yeah, amazing Spider-Man news. But yeah, Spider-Man 4 is cast actress Sadie Sink in an unknown role, and the internet's kind of flown away with that topic and speculated on who that could be, and we're gonna speculate ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, when I saw that she got cast, I think who was it? It was they've been floating around like who's gonna be this X-Man or whatever, and I guess one of the rumors out there that was they were going a bit younger. Not like too young, but you know, like mid to early 20s, I guess is what people were thinking.
And I don't think that's a bad way to go. I mean, it's Charles Xavier's School for Gifted, youngsters, right? Like,
right?
Yeah, right. So I'm not complaining.
I forget who the other people they were suspecting were X-Men were, but I think the running theory is that Sadie Sink is going to play Jean Grey.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, I'm not going to discount it because it could be cool to have like this Spider-Man mutant story if this is where it's going. Even though I think the thread is like a bit like, I
think it's really just like you see red hair, and you're like,
must be Jean Grey,
right? And I think that's a little, I don't know. I think it's a little lazy because like Jean Grey has never really had any relationship with Spider-Man, and so we're really like, kind of making something new and kind of forcing like the X-Men into the storyline when they don't necessarily need to be there, but like this is also taking place between the two Avengers movies. So like anything is up for,
which could be
go,
the perfect moment to like introduce these characters.
X-Men. Sure. Yeah. I just hate that it's like being shoved into Spider-Man 4 when we were teased something so like contained and raw at the end of the third one,
Yeah. And I guess the other theory that I've seen is that she's going to play like, again, because of the red hair, an MJ.
Which I think is more plausible in my opinion.
It is, but to me, like Zendaya's character is MJ.
She's MJ, but she's not Mary Jane.
I understand that.
Yeah. Which
I understand that, but like, do you know how you want him to call his girlfriend MJ?
Right.
Like you could fine if you wanna have her be like not like look, It could be because it's like maybe we're gonna move away from Zendaya, but I think Zendaya's gonna be in the movie.
She's gonna be in the movie, right? So that's
and it's like, so we're gonna like start to push. It's like, okay, bye Zendaya, introduce new MJ. It feels a little weird.
right.
He's gonna
It's a little weird. I feel like I've also heard that it could be like a MJ from a different multiverse, and that's why. But like you definitely, I could see it.
We'll
being
just
written.
have every Mary Jane from every Spider-Man unit.
Right.
We'll have Kristen Dunst. We'll have
there was never one.
but
Actually, she was cut out of the second.
She was cut out of the. Who was it? It wasn't Dakota
played,
Johnson, wasn't it? It was
no, it was the actress who was like
Shailene Woodley. It's gonna be Shailene Woodley.
She was in the Divergent series.
So we'll finally get the justice for Shailene. But maybe they'll all be like super. Like maybe she'll be like a Mary Jane who's like a really like sick reporter who's like got a gun, and it's like I'm a war reporter,
Yeah. I think it's plausible, but not likely either. I have seen. Well, I've also seen a pretty prevailing theory of that, like she could be Gwen Stacy. I know she has red hair, but like
it's put a wig on her.
Kristen Dunst was blonde. Not Kristen Dunst. I'm sorry.
Emma Stone was red hair.
Emma Stone was red haired. Bryce Dallas Howard was red haired, and she played Gwen Stacy in the original.
She's following the tradition of being a red hair and
right, could be
being Gwen Stacy,
because I do think this is the right time to meet a Gwen Stacy for Spider-Man.
Yeah. I agree. That's the best theory,
right? Because we're not just going off of her hair color. We're saying, hey, here's an actual character that's plausible. The other two theories that I do like that are based on hair, though, yeah. One is an interesting one. Mayday Parker.
What like they're
from
kids from the future,
right? And so it could be Tom Holland's kid from the future, but it also could be like
it's weird.
It could be Tobey Maguire's kid from his timeline. That could give us like a confirmation that like he ended up well with Mary Jane and they had a happy future.
Well, I think that's kind of I assume that was the case after.
Sure, but then we get this cool confirmation. I know what you mean. Like, yeah, we already know, but like,
well, yeah, okay, yeah. All right. What's the other one?
So the one I think that's my favorite is Firestar. I don't know if you've heard of the character.
I might have.
But basically, so she was created for the show, the Spider-Man like animated show back in 1981, and she's kind of become like an X-Men character since, and she like had a really huge arc recently in like the Krakoa arc for X-Men, and now she's like a full-on X-Men member. But like she basically was, from what I was reading, that she's a like a love interest at one point for Spider-Man. She's a love interest for Iceman in the comics.
Okay.
So
that would be an interesting that would be an interesting relationship between the two of them.
Right. You kind of bring in a character that is like already exists within Spider-Man's world, like in the comics and other media, and bring him a new love story or love arc, whatever you want to call it. Now my only like hesitation with that is that she's like incredibly similar to the Human Torch. Like that's basically her powers. And I know that like they're probably going to want to pair him and Johnny Storm eventually because they're such an iconic like friend duo.
Okay.
So like, would they do that twice? Like have him pair with like a woman version with the Human Torch, and then have him pair with like the Human Torch? I just don't know. But
yeah.
I like the thought of her being like this full on like super powered kind of love interest for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think that could be cool. Obviously, I definitely have not heard of that character, but I don't like the Mayday Parker one. That one I don't like. I do really like the Gwen Stacy one. I would love to continue in the lineage of redheads gone blonde with Gwen Stacy's.
Yeah.
And also I think somebody like Sadie Sink could make a Gwen Stacy really interesting. She's already like an interesting character, but I think she could do a lot with that sort of character. And
I haven't seen Sadie Sink in anything. I'm assuming you saw her in Stranger Things, but
I've seen her in Stranger Things. I saw her in The Whale. I might have seen her in something else, but
so she's a good actress.
Oh yeah, I mean she's one of the best things about Stranger Things, and like is amazing with Brendan Fraser in The Whale. I mean, she's great. She's really, really good.
Nice.
So I think she would be she could bring, not that I would want to typecast her, but I think she could have a lot more to play with if they took her in more of a complicated direction. She could be really good, but she's also like in season 3 of Stranger Things, like she is so animated, not super animated, but she's still has this like juvenile and like funness about her.
Okay,
that I
like a lot of like a character with a lot of energy.
Yeah, and like she could still be like Gwen Stacy, like kind of
bubbly,
bubbly.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I'm curious to like go back to like that animated show. What was that called? For Firestar, to see like what her personality's like, because I really haven't heard of this character either. I know she's kind of a deep cut up until recently, but I thought what was cool is that I guess like they did a fan vote for X-Men, and the fans voted her to become like a full member of the X-Men. So clearly there's enough like fan love for the character. So maybe that's kind of like a nudge into that role, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, and I still think that the idea of her being a mutant character who's not Gwen Stacy or even Firestarter, and she's, I don't know, like a Kitty Pryde or a Jean Grey would be interesting. I don't think it would be a Jean Grey, but
I guess I just like the idea of her being more of a deep cut than like some crazy popular like name or character, you know?
Yeah. It just depends, right? Like if they're like, we're going to start introducing mutants and maybe we just want Sadie Sink. Sadie Sink's going to be like a one-off character, or we are just going to go deep cut and see if people like her a lot in that way. Like that could be cool. But they might also be like, let's just start pushing the big hitters. Like let's get them in the universe. You know,
I do like the idea of Kitty Pryde more than Jean Grey. I almost feel like Spider-Man could be wrapped up more in like almost like for some reason what comes to mind to me is like, you remember the show Heroes?
Never watched it, but I know it.
Okay, so like the tagline of that show was save the cheerleader, save the world.
Right.
And so like I feel like you could have, you know, Peter Parker Spider-Man wrapped up in a story where like, you know, like Kitty Pryde is an incredibly important character. Everybody wants to like get to her, and he has to like save her and keep her out of harm's way. Like I think you could I feel like that's more plausible with her than with Jean Grey. You know?
Yeah. Or she could be like a Jubilee, even though I think she would be
Jubilee Asian.
Yeah, I guess you kind of would be whitewashing that character.
Yeah, you really would.
All right, maybe not Jubilee. Wonder what other X-Men characters that she could be. Rogue.
Sure,
Rogue would be good. I would think Rogue would be kind of cool.
For sure.
No, they wouldn't do Emma Frost.
No. Not for her, I don't think.
maybe maybe it's Mystique causing some havoc.
Yeah,
I know it's reaching.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's gonna be one of the characters that we've said.
But
I think it's gonna be Gwen or MJ or Firestar.
I think it's gonna be Gwen.
I don't mind that.
In my
mind
heart, like I'm like, please be Gwen.
Yeah. I do want to see him kind of get a new group.
But at the same time, if I was Sadie Sink, I'd be like, I don't know. I could be like, I maybe would want to do I don't know what's it, but I would be like, maybe if Marvel's like, look, we could keep Sadie Sink on the roster for like many years. Like, do we want her to just not that Gwen Stacy is just a love interest?
They could turn her into Spider-Gwen.
That's true.
Even though I'm not a huge fan of like those characters existing in the same universe, like you could do it. Yeah.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess there's that possibility.
Right.
Like you get Gwen, she dies, Spider-Gwen comes in from like, I don't know.
Oh, like in like
Secret
Doomsday.
Wars.
Yeah. Right.
Something I don't know. That.
Maybe. I guess we'll have to wait a year to figure this. Well, it's probably going to come out sooner than that, I would assume.
What role she'll be?
Yeah.
When does this movie come out?
It comes out July of 2026, I believe. But let me make sure really quickly.
They better shoot soon.
Yeah, well, the fact that they're shooting Doomsday right now, and that's supposed to come out like next March or something is like insane. Yeah. Release date July 24th, 2026. So yeah, they better get started on that soon. That'd be nice. At least they're casting. That's a good sign,
No, yeah.
So it sounds like they've got a finished script.
They've had that casting news locked for a minute, I bet.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Like months, probably.
I hope. I hope. I hope we're that close to filming, but we'll have to see. But yeah, that's our Spider-Man talk of the day. But we're going to move on to a ton of comments that the Russo brothers made about their movies that are coming up.
A lot of comments.
Doomsday and not Doomsday and Endgame. Doomsday and Secret Wars. But yeah, they talked about Doctor Doom and the role he's playing and the concept art. But yeah, I guess we can start with what they're speaking about these upcoming movies of theirs. So one, on Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, they said, "We love villains who think they are heroes of their own stories," and they mentioned in reference to Tony Stark's death in Endgame, they said, "We can't explain that as it's part of the story," basically confirming that his death will be a part of Doom's story. But then they say, but there's nobody else in the world who could play this character the way he's about to. So yeah, we can go into that really quick.
I would say that this lightly confirms that he would be a
Tony Stark variant.
I would say it lightly confirms, though I could see the argument of somebody fills the vacuum that he creates in like Tony Stark like leaving, but like I think this like for the most part I think it has to slightly confirm the fact that either he sees this in his future as like a different variant and it's like is at a time in his life where he's like that build a shield around the world, right? And we saw the when when Robert Downey Jr. came out and said that he was going to be Doom, like he said, like same goal, different mask, or same task, different mask, or whatever.
Oh, right.
And so maybe in some multi-dimensional way, he's like, he sees that, and instead of like going a heroic direction of being freaked out, he like starts to double down because he's not selfless yet.
Right.
He's so
right. Okay.
But I think maybe there's like a bit of that, but I think whatever they have cooking is probably better than whatever I'm just spitballing right now.
I don't think it's bad at all. I mean, like, I could agree with your like vacuum comment if they hadn't said no one can play this character the way he's about to. Like for sure, I feel like that means he's pulling from the context of or like the history of him as Tony Stark, and because of that, no one else can do it. But could they just be gassing up his acting skills? Sure. I mean, he's a great actor. But I feel like they're teasing something more than just that.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe because like, do we think that he shows up this version of it, like is from another multiverse? Like, do we think that he becomes Doctor Doom once he gets the Infinity Gauntlet and does something with it other than to kill Thanos? Do we think that?
No, I think it's before that.
You think it's before?
Yeah, because like I feel like by that point, like if the timeline has gone exactly the same, then there isn't like that's who Tony is, and he's gonna make that decision every time. Like I think something has to like seriously like alter the history of the MCU for him to be the way he is. Like maybe it's losing to Ultron. Like I don't know. But I do think he's going to be a Tony Stark variant. I would be surprised if he isn't at this point.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that? Because I know you're more of like a Secret Wars comic book fan and a Doom comic fan. And I know a lot of people weren't happy about that.
The thing is that we have had technically 3, but you can say 2 if you want. Live action Doctor Dooms. So you had the one from 2004 or whatever.
Yeah.
The one from 2014.
Right.
And then there's one that was like before then that was like,
oh yeah, okay, sure, the Fantastic Four movie that no one ever got to saw. Sure.
Right. It came. I think it came out, but it just wasn't very good. Or maybe it never came out.
I thought that was the one that they made, and then and they made it like just to keep the rights to it and never planned to release it. But I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah, it might be. Yeah. But so like you've had 2 that are like, well, this is the character. Like maybe,
no. Well, the second one isn't.
Well, maybe. Well, the
second one is terrible.
The second one, none of it was particularly like super great.
No.
Even though the first half of that movie, I was like, this is actually kind of decent. Like I
wasn't hating it.
I wasn't hating it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you still got like that. His name is Doom. Like his
Von Doom. Yeah.
He's got this rivalry with Reed. Like this is all there, and it didn't work. So I'm not saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's like an impossibility for that to work, though.
No, I don't think it's an impossibility. I'm just saying, like, well, if it didn't work 2 times prior in the past 20 years, like, and so like, would I like to have an original? Like, that's how it is, maybe. But right. I think it's. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Marvel's desperate, but I think it's more ballsy that they're doing it like this.
I almost feel like it's in line with what they are and how they write stories. Like they never do a 1-for-1 with the comics, and they always like kind of form their own stories. And I think like Doomsday and Secret Wars has to build off of like everything that's come before.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think like this is a pretty brilliant way to tie everything together in the MCU. You know, like I don't think it's forcing anything. I think it's just like I think it's almost naturally bringing back like a character in a sense, you know? So I'm not complaining about it either, but
I'm not complaining about it. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest.
I'm down.
What I am thinking is that what might be different about the Secret Wars is instead of having because I think part of this part of it might be that something terrible happens to Tony's daughter. Like I think he still might be like I think the switch might actually happen like
during Endgame basically.
It could be
like so there's something wrong happens in one of the timelines. And, right. Okay.
And
I could believe that.
And then it becomes like I need to create a world where like
nothing
everything
like this can ever happen again.
And you know, he creates this multiverse world where his daughter's real again. He's with Pepper. So
almost the same motivation that Scarlet Witch had in Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
Could be.
Right.
Could be.
I mean, I don't hate it.
So insteed of like having like in the comics where Doom's on the throne and he's got Sue Storm near him because he's in love with Sue.
Right.
And Valeria might be her daughter's name, or it could be maybe I think Franklin was around there too. So those two kids there, it's like Pepper and what's Tony's daughter's name?
Oh shit, I don't remember. I need to look it up. I'll look it up for you, but keep going.
Well, I just think like that could be like when they because I think they'd want to do a scene like that. Morgan, like Pepper and Morgan instead of Sue and like her daughter or like her son next to him. Just a theory.
I like it. I like that theory.
Now I don't know if he'd still have beef with Reed Richards.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we're kind of losing that unless they like implement him like into Fantastic Four. I just don't know how they do that. With him having like a very different origin, you know. At
the end of the thing that bums me out is like it feels like whatever sort of Doctor Doom this is like it's a one and done sort of thing.
Well, I mean,
like he's not coming back for multiple runs.
Well, okay. Well, let's get into this comment then. So they said that their quote here is, "We told an ending story with Avengers Endgame. Now we're going to tell a beginning story." So I feel like that. Yes, I mean, like it's hard to think that Robert Downey Jr. will come back for another decade as Doom, right? But like. For this to be like the beginning of a new chapter, basically, like Doomsday and Secret Wars, I feel like Doomsday should maybe carry it, or sorry, not Doomsday, but you know, Doctor Doom should carry through a little bit longer than like the two Avengers movies, but maybe that's the whole arc he needs. I don't know.
It might. I mean, like with like the newest Daredevil episode that came out, you know, we had National Latvian Heritage Day, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, like, and we had like assumed or guessed that one of the delivery trucks or whatever in Moon Knight was from Latvia or Latveria, and so we were like, okay, like we're saying Latvia a lot, you know, Latveria or whatever, right? And so are we just building up to this like character and then nothing, or are we like we're gonna build out this whole like country and keep it around for a very long time, like they obviously are like, no, this is a real place and like this character is going to show up at some point.
I wouldn't be surprised though if it's just like a little nod, you know, like I would heavily doubt that like the Daredevil writing team is concerned with like setting up Doctor Doom, you know?
No, I know, but it like they do little things like here and there, like
Sure.
in Endgame, they're like, there's a underwater earthquake happening, and and everyone's like, it's Namor, and then people are like, I don't think it's good, and then like
And then
they
Namor
didn't exactly like
Namor.
say that any of that was like canon. At any point, he wasn't ever like, well, this one time when I created an underwater earthquake, but like we all are like, oh, that was a little nod to like, hey, that's him coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I just don't see how those two like building up an authentic Doctor Doom. I don't know. Yeah, but
that's what I'm curious about. It's like, so is there one like going on
in the MCU right now? Right.
Like,
which doesn't make a ton of sense because we don't have a Fantastic Four either. Like, where's our Reed Richards?
I don't. Yeah. I mean, look, if they got him to come back, like that's your moneymaker. But then again, you'd have to have him as like a part of each Avengers movie in some way.
Like I mean, if they keep making Avengers movies, I mean, I know it's like the Avengers universe.
Are you gonna stop making Avengers movies? If your last one almost made $3 billion or whatever the hell.
I guess it really depends on how these next two do. Because they do, obviously they can just keep focusing on X-Men after the Avengers.
I am excited that they're saying that it's like a start, but I'm also like, well, did we have to go through like quote unquote like 3 phases to get to a new start? Like, what has this been like a
it's like we've been in like purgatory for the last two phases.
An epilogue and a prologue of like 2 books. Like it's
it almost feels like phase 4 and 5. If it's not the end of like phase 4, 5, and 6, then like what was the point of phase 4 and 5? So
there is a point. I don't know if there is a point.
It's just let's just introduce a bunch of new characters. Let's just do that.
That is kind of what it was.
Yeah. And nobody ever got a sequel. Everyone was just kind of like, let's just give them one and done.
I mean, every single time I bring up Shang-Chi, somebody goes, "Where's that sequel?"
It genuinely pisses me off. Like that's the poor planning of this universe. They were just so focused with like, let's introduce this character. Let's introduce this character. Like they didn't jump on their successes. Like they could have easily done a Shang-Chi 2 and made a shit ton of money, but they didn't. What other? I mean, were there any other like brand new characters that got movies?
Well, yeah. I mean, they got like Miss Marvel in the Marvels, but that was a mistake in its own way.
Yeah, they should have given her a separate movie from Captain Marvel, not lumped all 3 of them together.
Because in a lot of ways, what's going to happen when Doomsday rolls around is, and this is unfortunate. Maybe I'll eat my words, but like it feels like it. We're gonna go watch the movie, and then it'll be like, oh, so it's like pretty much like, despite some new characters that were like, if I was just a casual viewer and had only watched Endgame and now I'm gonna watch the new one, like I'm like, oh, new character that I get to learn about. Yeah, it's just the world after Endgame and the new story.
Yeah,
like
pretty much
nothing significant something significant has happened. Eternals, but we never talk about it again
until Brave New World.
And even then,
and even barely then. Yeah, like there was no like they could have really mentioned, what was it, Erisham? Yeah, they could have mentioned him, but no, they didn't.
They could have also mentioned like any other country than just 4 countries that wanted to, obtain this new rare
strongest
resource.
metal on the earth. Right. Yeah. Not the greatest of movies. I don't know, man. We're gonna be like bringing a bunch of new characters into like a new story with a bunch of old characters,
right?
It's a bit of a bummer.
And speaking of old characters, apparently not returning.
Oh yeah,
is that Elizabeth Olsen, I guess she was talking to the Hollywood Reporter and was saying, I'm not going to be in Doomsday. I'm not going to be in Secret Wars as Scarlet Witch.
Which is hard to believe. I mean, she is easily one of the biggest fan favorites of the universe. You would expect them to bring her back. I think it is like props to Marvel if this is true. I think it's bold to keep a character dead. That is a fan favorite. I like that. I'm a fan of it, but I like her character a lot.
The thing is, there's been multiple comments made about we have a lot of stuff in mind, what Scarlet Witch, there's people, Kevin Feige and other people have brought up I can't really say much about Scarlet Witch plans at this time, but there's been stories we've always wanted to tell. And so to me, I think she's probably lying.
I think it's a very strong possibility.
But if she really isn't in it, I don't know. I just feel I think it would be a missed opportunity because I think a lot of people are like, what? She's dead like that?
Right.
That's
For
it?
just keeping her dead from the stone falling on her? I guess. Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I don't know. I guess my thought is that obviously she could be taking the Andrew Garfield route with just lying her ass off, right?
Just denying until the movie comes out.
But another one that didn't that she's saying won't be coming back is Scarlett Johansson saying Black Widow's dead. She's not coming back. She's dead. Now that one I'm more to believe.
I'm more inclined to believe that.
Right, because her comment also was let her have her moment and keep the impact of that. Let her have her heroic moment death. And I totally agree. She had a great send-off and a great final moment with Clint. I don't want to touch that. Let's not bring her back.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, her death doesn't feel as satisfying. And I think there's a lot of character development to bring her back to being a good person that still needs to be done. Yes, she kind of had it at the very end of Multiverse of Madness, but I still think there's a lot to tell with her character. So it's hard to believe that she would stay dead.
Yeah. But one of the things is it did seem like she does have a lot planned to shoot with this Hollywood Reporter article. And also she has brought up multiple times, I've missed a lot of opportunities because I've been playing the Scarlet Witch, and she definitely seemed like she was eager to play different roles. So
sure.
Now that kind of doesn't mean anything if you're signed to a contract for multiple movies, which I don't know if she still is, to be fair. I've not checked to see if she's still.
I know for a while there, their new strategy was not signing their actors to contracts and letting them have freedom to, say hey, if you liked working with us and we like working with you, we want to bring you back. Right. You're not locked down to movies.
Yeah.
But then one of the Russo brothers comments here was that they basically were given these baseball cards of every character they're working with in the movie. And their comment was that it's the only way to keep track of the amount of characters we're working with in these two films. But the baseball cards also have how expensive their fee is and how many movies are left on their contract. Jeez. And so I'm so that means there are still quite a bit of actors who have contracts in the MCU.
Yeah.
Which
it's
I honestly
going forward, new contracts.
Sure. I guess I just wasn't aware that there were that many long-standing deals in the MCU still around. So I'm curious to know who those are, but I don't know
if you signed on when they were still doing 4 to 5 or more movie deal lockdowns.
Right.
If you're Florence Pugh, you probably still got 3 or 4 more to go. If you're David,
Maybe.
if you're David
Yeah.
Harbour, you probably got like 3 to go. If you're Shang-Chi, you probably got like 4 to go.
But aren't those all like in the new era though, right? I mean, technically.
Yeah, but I'm saying like,
Yeah.
well, okay, but like even going back to like
my thought would be like Paul Rudd, maybe, you know, like maybe he's got a ton of movies in his contract or something.
I mean, he's done what, 6 movies?
He's done 6 movies.
Yeah.
Yes. God, that's a lot. It's so funny. I saw that Gwyneth Paltrow was like, I've been in 7 MCU movies? That can't be right.
And she's like, yeah, I guess I do forget that I was in Spider-Man.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I mean, Samuel L. Jackson's been in like, what, all of them?
I mean, over 10 at least. I'm not going to count right now, but it's a lot.
But
yeah,
I mean, if
so
you're Elizabeth Olsen, but you got Civil War, you got Age of Ultron, Endgame.
well, before Civil War was
well, not
you already said Ultron. My bad.
Endgame, Infinity War, and then you could say WandaVision, even though it was a TV show. But like
she was also in Endgame.
Yeah, I said Endgame.
Oh, you did. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many did you count? Like 7 there, or
like
what?
5.
Oh, Multiverse of Madness, Endgame, Infinity War.
Oh no, that's 6.
Yeah,
Forgot that one.
Yeah. That's a big one. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's burnt out. Maybe she's feeling done. Maybe her contract is done.
I mean,
I don't know.
6 movies is a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe they
5
just aren't
movies
able to
and a
get
TV
her
show.
to come back, which would be wild. But it's possible. You know, like I don't think it's
gonna. I think she has to come back, especially if you're like, all right, we're gonna focus on her kids that never existed.
Yeah. I do think they're both gonna be in the Avengers movies. I think we're gonna see the Young Avengers.
Yeah,
whether people want that or not.
I mean, we could bring that up too. The fact that the Avengers like concept art is apparently not their concept art.
I don't believe that shit.
I don't know if I believe that either.
No, because like they were, you know why I don't believe it? They like Disney and Marvel were taking down posts that were like that had the concept art. Like they clearly obviously didn't want it out there. So what does that mean? That you want to take down concept art for a movie you didn't make? Like I'm confused.
You're taking down concept, like you're taking down like artwork. If you're claiming that the only reason you would take it down is if it was showing something you didn't want people to see.
Right.
You don't see Marvel taking down fan artwork. At least to my knowledge, you don't see Marvel taking down like,
exactly.
Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we saw so-and-so in this design or did this scene or whatever?
Right. I mean, so someone brought up the possibility that like maybe this was concept art from like a previous iteration of Avengers Doomsday or Avengers Secret or Kang Secret Wars or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Possible. But like I still don't understand why they would feel the need to then take that down, you know? Like they could have left it up, said
they could have been like, hey, oh yeah, this was, you know,
this was
like
a
previous concept art. It's not what's currently happening.
Yeah. And then everyone been like, all right, well, that's too bad.
I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea though.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys should do that.
Yeah, I don't believe the Russos. I think they're full of it with that one.
I'm still like, the thing is like, I don't want to have this locked in my head. Like, I think that I do believe that it's on a scale of like 50 over under 50%. I'm like over 50. This is the movie,
like official
or like concept art.
Right.
But I'm still like putting it in the like almost canon in my brain because like, I don't want the trailer to come and be like, oh, this isn't the fucking concept art I saw, and then be disappointed.
Then, sure. Yeah, I mean, well, and remember, like the concept art, they're saying that was for Secret Wars. So we might not even see any of that shit in like the Doomsday trailer.
Right, that is the Secret Wars stuff. Yes, that's true.
So, it'll be a while until we know what's real or what's not. But I'm still leaning towards the fact that's some real concept art.
Me too.
And I do think the Young Avengers will be in it, and so will White Vision and Star Lord and all those people. So
yeah, because that's just so that it not that obviously like anybody could come up with any sort of like combination of characters to be together, but there's something like so interesting about those two that I'm like really like, okay, there must be something.
Yeah, there has to be. I love that. Yeah, it's such a specific relationship.
Yeah,
I really want to see that on screen and see why they're together. Yeah.
Obviously to find out about themselves, I would say.
Yeah, what their next chapter in life is. I guess that's kind of where they're both at. They're like, what's next for us?
Yeah, who am I?
Yeah. That'll be cool to see. But yeah, so that's, I think, all the comments we want to talk about the Russos. Lastly, that we wanted to talk about was that Daniel Craig was cast, is, I guess, in talks, I think, to be cast as Uncle Andrew Ketterly in Greta Gerwig's Chronicles of Narnia movie for Netflix. Now, if you don't recognize that character, then I don't blame you. He wasn't in the original movies, but he is a character from The Magician's Nephew. Is that what the book is called, right?
Yes.
Which is the 6th book of the series, and it's the prequel technically to the original books. Now he's the uncle of the older man that they move in with, the professor they move in with in the first book, The Chronicles of Narnia.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
You're right. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yes.
And so I guess kind of what I'm thinking with this kind of like potential casting news is I think we're possibly going to see like a flashback in this movie, or just the fact that we're seeing this character, I think hints at like at Netflix and Greta Gerwig's like big plans for this franchise. Like I feel like they eventually want to get to that story of like the professor kind of growing up with his uncle and him kind of being introduced to his own like Narnia story. And the way to do that is to set him up from the start,
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think that they're just gonna have like it'll be the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but they'll have backstory of the professor as a young boy with Daniel Craig, or do you think that they are even potentially gonna be doing a like prequel to the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where like Daniel Craig will be taking on a larger role than and in kind of like this beginning of going into this world?
I think I don't know if they'll give a flashback. I don't even know if they'll go that on the nose with it, but I think like just establishing the character and that he's existing in like this world and that he's the uncle of this professor. I think even if we see him for like 5 minutes, like that he's just like around the.
But why would you get such a big actor like Daniel Craig to do that?
Because I think then you can like, I think he knows potentially like what the bigger plans are, right? And so like he would definitely come back for like The Magician's Nephew if they were to make that a movie. I think the purpose of having him in this one is to like set him up and then give him a big part in that one.
Well, how would you set him up without doing a flashback though?
Do you think he's like he's probably dead. He's probably dead. Right. So you would have to, I mean, maybe it's more of a like it's a flashback where
unless like he's still in Narnia.
No, I don't.
But
think
like you would be living for so long potentially.
Yeah, I think what it's more like is like you maybe have more of an emphasis on the professor and you focus on him for like a brief period in the beginning where he is reminiscing after like the kids run off and he's like, "Oh, that's just like my childhood," and like they kind of go back in that flashback, establish Daniel Craig, establish that he also like the professor also might have had access to this Narnia world. Kind of hints that maybe something was happening in his childhood like theirs is.
The only thing is, like as much as I've not read all of The Magician's Nephew, I don't think it's nearly as interesting of a story as some of the later stuff. Like it's not as like there's not as much action. It's more like magic and mystery and creation, and I'm like, maybe like, because to me I'm like, okay, this feels like they would have a flashback, because I can't imagine that they'd like, all right, prequel movie, this is how it all began. Like maybe they would, but
you don't think they'll go that route? You don't think they'll ever make that movie if like the movies are like really successful?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Because I do feel
a lot
like
of it is like just, I think if I remember correctly, a lot of it's just creating the world.
Right.
And there I think there might have been some characters and creatures already pre-populating that world, but I don't know.
Yeah, I like this idea for Daniel Craig because it feels like more in line with like the roles he likes. Like it's eccentric, it's quirky, and it's not like I almost feel like him dropping like Sergeant Rock and then like him being eyed for this is like him leaving like James Bond to do Knives Out.
Right.
It's like the same kind of like he's going away from that heavy action like seriousness to like a more lighthearted, fun character.
Right.
So I like that idea for him a lot. I like the idea of them setting up a large world with these books and these movies. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait for the release date for this
it's definitely going to be the most developed and like lore expansive, movies that I think we'll have ever seen.
Yeah, because like from what I was reading, and like the movies don't touch at all into this. It's like he was like the creator of like the rings that transport you to like the wood between the worlds, which is like a hub to get to other worlds, and you're like, whoa. And I guess that's obviously why the book is called The Magician's Nephew, because his uncle is somewhat of a magician in a sense, right? I mean, yeah.
I mean, like the magic box that he made the rings from is from Atlantis.
Whoa. Okay.
And it's
maybe
like, it says the island of Atlantis, but
maybe we'll get an original story with him. Maybe we'll get like all his adventures that we never got to really see.
Yeah, maybe.
But at that point, you would be establishing the character of Daniel Craig and casting somebody younger to play him in a different movie.
Yeah. I don't
know if that really makes any sense to do that to Daniel Craig.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision. To me, I think it's cool.
I think I just think like when it comes to like The Magician's Nephew, it's like it doesn't have that Narnia thing about it. It's like, oh, that's cool. How it's kind of like, even though I've not read the books, it's just what it's been described to me is like reading the Silmarillion before reading the Lord of the Rings. It's like, oh, it's cool to have all this like backstory and lore of how everything was like started, but there's not like, it's not like there's the adventure story going on.
Okay. That's fun. Yeah.
But I only read like half of that book, so I could be wrong.
It's probably a reason you only read half. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was a kid and I was like, this isn't
like, this is not really entertaining me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think her Narnia movie comes out 2027. I could be wrong. Greta Gerwig, Narnia.
Charlie XCX might be the witch.
The release. Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm being serious.
Oh my gosh. Actually, it's apparently going to be in IMAX theaters on Thanksgiving Day next year. So I guess we won't have to wait
like a year and a half.
Incredibly long. Yeah. I'm excited that it's actually going to be in theaters. Surprising move for Netflix.
I think they fought pretty hard.
I did hear about that. Yeah. Good for her. She deserves that. But yeah, I think that is our topics for this week. Did you have anything you've been watching throughout these last few weeks?
Yes, I've been watching a lot.
Same here.
Well, I finished Invincible season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Cinema.
Nice.
Cinema.
Yeah, I'll be watching that soon.
I finished Harley Quinn season 5.
Nice.
Which was also very good. I've been watching Common Side Effects, which is
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a new Adult Swim show on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so good. It's like, how to describe it? It has Breaking Bad qualities to it, but it also has like a certain levity to it, and it's got like a Tarantino sort of thing. It's good.
Okay.
It's really good. It's basically like the premise is this guy Marshall is like discovers this blue mushroom in Peru, and basically it can heal everything.
Okay.
Like you could die and then somebody gives it to you, or like you'd be in a horrible car crash and somebody gives it to you and you'll come back to life. It'll repair your wounds. It'll cure your mental illness. It'll cure any illness you have. And he kind of, he starts to get hunted by pharmaceutical companies because they don't want him to like have that mushroom, and they don't want the world to find out about it.
Okay. You know what? That's so funny. I just realized what show you were talking about, and I'd seen a trailer like months ago for it, and it looks so fucking funny.
Yeah.
I definitely need to watch it. It's an Adult Swim show, right?
Yeah, it's really funny. It's really good.
Yeah, it looked really good.
And like Mike Judge is a part of it, who did like Beavis and Butthead, and
nice.
You have like
art style looked good too. Yeah.
Art is so good.
Nice.
So yeah, that's been great.
Nice.
Still watching Twin Peaks season 2, slowly but surely. Watching Survivor, I'm all caught up.
Hey, the new season?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm caught up too. Wow. That's
so
awesome.
I'm all caught up on that.
Yeah, dude, that tribe is just cursed. Like the Green
Cursed.
tribe. Yeah.
Is it like that all the time? Like whenever a tribe is like starts losing, like they're just on a losing streak forever?
Not usually. I mean, it happens for sure. And I think it even happened last season. But yeah, this tribe got some really bad luck. I think
that's
in general
the best like tribe, and you have all your supplies, and then you get merged, and I didn't know that you could merge into 3 different tribes. I thought like because the season that I watched,
it was more of a tribe swap.
Okay, because like
because the merge is still going to come, but this is like something beforehand, because like this tribe was getting fucked up so bad. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Right.
Because me and Hannah were like, oh, can they just like merge into new tribes? I thought like there was the big merge where like it's just 2 tribes, but
yeah, that's still coming.
Okay,
and it'll be 1 big tribe actually, not 2. Oh,
okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, the season's been great. I've loved seeing, that. Like there's
I was devastated. Thomas was my boy.
Was he? Yeah, no, dude, the California Girls Alliance was great. But I loved like that last episode where like Camille and the other, I can't remember the other guy's name, but like they acted their ass off for like a couple of days, to like cement that they weren't really allies. And they pulled it off using Idol, and it was great. It was an acting masterclass. It was
devastating
for some newbies. But yeah, no, honestly, and I've like no one from the original Green Tribe, so I was totally fine just like week after week watching them like go one by one.
I like Cedric.
Cedric to me, okay, what pissed me off about Cedric one, he's useless in challenges. Like he is the worst. And then
I think he's not terrible. He's not terrible.
Remember the one where they were trying to like go across the beam on the water?
I know that was not his best moment. No,
the first challenge in the first episode, he couldn't get up. Like he couldn't pull himself up either. So like he's incredibly weak and unbalanced. And then he's like he was incredibly loyal to Say until like it was time to vote her out, and then like she was able to convince him. Like that really pissed me off. You know what? I was like, Cedric, what are you doing?
I was like, come on, dude, you gotta like pick a hard stance on this. You can't just like you should have kept the pizza guy.
And now, predictably, next episode, she's totally against him because like he wrote her name down twice. So
he's like, oh no, we can make up our differences. Yeah, of course, just keep me on.
I couldn't believe that he made that choice. But yeah, no,
like he's not. He out of all of them, like he's like. Or maybe Mary is. I definitely don't like Say. Say is like, I can't.
Mary's the best one of those three.
Maybe
I don't like Say at all. Yeah. She pisses me off. But yeah. What else am I watching? I've been watching Reacher season 3. That's been it's been great. There's only one episode left to come out. A lot better than season 2. Kind of brought back the small town vibe, kind of mystery, which is cool. Been watching. Finished and watched Andor while I was sick, so that was amazing.
I know
and honestly, I am glad I watched like a month away from the show, like the season 2 coming out, because I would have been dying. Like the fact that we ended there and we had to wait like 2.5 years for the next season would have murdered me,
dude. The prison episodes.
Oh my god, dude! But even the heist arc was like incredible.
The heist is so good.
Oh my gosh, dude. Like the whole like meteor shower, like and dude, and the fact I loved like every like the heist crew and like the prison crew that he was introduced to. Like all the characters were great, and the fact that they're like all kind of picked off one by one is so devastating. I love the guy he like ended like basically was able to escape the prison with. Like I love
Andy
that
Serkis's character.
But no, the guy who was like cynical about everything.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like kind of happy that like Cassian had like an actual like brother, like those two went through something so like traumatizing and just like tragic. And I love that like he was like, dude, we got to split up and we have to let people know like what's going on here. And like they had like a brotherly hug at the end and dipped. And I was like, I hope we see him again, genuinely. But yeah, no, like the season ended in such a strong spot. I'm so excited to see like the fact that it ended where Cassian is like, I want to help the rebellion now is like such a great point to end it, but I wanted so much more. And I'm so glad we're getting it in like less than a month,
And what did you think of Skarsgård's, speech of like, I'm fighting for a sunrise I'll never see.
I loved it.
God.
I also loved how he was like this great actor who like had his own shop and like was putting on this front. I loved like you saw so much into Mon Mothma's like life and her struggle and like how she's contributing. It genuinely, it's not even, I don't even look at it really as like an Andor series. To me, it's like the Rebellion, the series.
Yeah, it's definitely like miscast as like, not miscast. It's definitely mistitled.
Right.
Like I'm like,
it should just be like the Rebellion,
Yeah, it should be called like Rebellion and just call it that.
Sure, like, that'd be great. But I do think it is mainly focused on Cassian for the most part.
But like he's never even like. There's just parts of it that's like, okay, well, Mon Mothma's never interacting with him, but we're having this whole story about him, about her, and then the functionary what I don't know, I forget his name, but the Imperial, the guy who gets demoted to like desk work, and then he starts to become this like bureaucratic.
That was really
fascist.
interesting because like he didn't have much of an impact on the story after he gets demoted. But
I think it's building to something.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I think like he's gonna be that woman's like right hand man. Like he's gonna be the enforcer, and those two are gonna be like a powerhouse couple or whatever you want to call that. So yeah, very excited to see that, and I liked his character a lot. It was surprising that they focused so much on him. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, there's just all these different storylines that like don't have anything to do with Andor. But like it's interesting.
It's so interesting. And so well shot, so well like acted, and such great dialogue and storylines. Like it truly is the best show Star Wars has ever put out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And I'm like, I cannot believe I waited this long to watch it. But I did, and that's a sin. That's a sin on my part. It is. But I'm not totally upset, because now I get to see the second part of the story so soon after. So, I also watched real quick. I watched The Electric State, which was dog shit. I gave it a 1 out of 5. Missed the mark.
What was so bad about it?
So one, it just like it totally didn't like follow the vibe of the books, like tone and story.
Have you read
like,
the books?
No, but I read a lot about it, and like I'm not saying that's like the main reason, but basically like it would have been way better if like, gosh, okay, yeah, we can go into it. So like the movie has this like war between robots and humans, and then ends with like a treaty that like relegates all the robots into this place called the Excursion Zone, and they get to like live there kind of peacefully if they never leave, right? And they're not really allowed to leave either. And so like Millie Bobby Brown's brother, they think is in the Excursion Zone, and so they have to go save him, and that's kind of the plot, right? But in the book, like the humans just beat the robots, right? And so the country is really like this kind of like in the remains of like a war-torn society, and so there's just like robot corpses kind of like laying around everywhere, and it's a way more dystopian feeling, whereas like it's just a pretty normal Earth after like the war in the movie, and everyone just has these like VR sets on their heads. And yeah, but besides that, like I think like acting wise, not good at all. Like Millie Bobby Brown, that might be her worst acting performance for me.
Oh no.
Chris Pratt, which is wild. They wrote a new character for him, and he was still miscast. Like he was playing this like trucker thief kind of guy, and it just didn't work. Like it's like he was trying to be like Kurt Russell and like Big Trouble Little China.
Okay.
And it just didn't work. Like I just wanted Kurt Russell from Big Trouble Little China instead. And so you had this really like gross story with like the robots, and like Mr. Peanut was their leader, and there were like plot holes all over the place with how like characters were like getting and finding out information and getting to certain spots. And and like Millie Bobby Brown character had like zero character development and was just kind of along for the ride, even though she's the main fucking character. So yeah, I really didn't like that movie. Didn't like the tone or the characters or the story, and it just didn't work at all for me.
Yeah, I didn't hear good things. I was like, I don't think I'm going to waste my time.
No, yeah, you were right not to. I was just curious, and I was sick, and I was like, fuck it. But yeah, and then I also watched Mickey 17, which I liked it. I didn't love it. I wanted to really love it, but it just didn't go like far enough layer wise or like depth wise for me in the story. Like it was an interesting, like good story. I think it has like a pretty decent ending, but like there are just almost too many threads that the story is like pulling on that just don't really go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really great about the movie is like Robert Pattinson is amazing. He plays two different like main characters in the movie, and both are great and interesting. And then Mark Ruffalo is like another standout performance in that one. He's fantastic. And you really hate his character. So, and then like the world they build or like around the characters is really interesting and like cool to follow. Yeah, just didn't go as far as I wanted them to with it. So gave that one a 3.5 out of 5. But yeah, otherwise I liked it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also watched The Monkey, which was
How was that?
the Oslo. What was it? Oslo good something. Forget what his Osgood Perkins. Osgood Perkins, who did Long Legs last year.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I described it as like in a series of unfortunate events that's like rated R.
Oh, okay.
Sort of movie in a sense. And it started off really strong. I would say like the first third to half of the movie is really strong. And then the second half, it just kind of lost me. But it was a good like horror kind of like fairy tale sort of situation, I guess.
Okay.
Or like children, not like a nursery story kind of thing. Like
interesting.
Like, like the monkey paw story.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. Unfortunately.
It's kind of like a tall tale sort of thing.
Okay.
But
so like a creepy children's story.
Sort of, yeah. Like there's this monkey toy that it like bad things happen with the monkey. Yeah. Kind of thing.
That's about it.
And then I watched Strange Darling, which is it's like a one night stand that turns into like a serial killer story.
Okay.
And it's kind of like it's non-linear. It's kind of Tarantino with its like violence and dialogue. And then it's like a cat and mouse sort of thing that has a bit of a twist.
Okay.
So, and that was really, really good. Definitely had like one of the best death scenes I've seen in a minute.
Nice.
Highly recommend that movie. And then I finally saw You've Got Mail.
Is that an older movie?
Yeah, with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan.
I never saw it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That's a romance. Okay, yeah.
Pretty decent. You would probably like it. You could potentially like it more than me. But I will say that Dave Chappelle was completely misused. Like there's, I don't even know.
In it.
I don't know. He is kind of barely in it. But like when he is on it, I'm like, this could have been anybody.
Oh man. That's too bad.
It was like he's not really adding too much to this.
Wasn't that
movie.
like during like his heyday, like his prime, or
probably?
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I watched. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been watching more murders, only Murders in the Building. Season 3 is better than season 2 so far, which is nice. Yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, busy couple of weeks for us watching shit.
Yeah, it has.
But yeah, I think that is the end of our podcast now. As always, thank you all for watching and listening. If you want to support us in the future, we release episodes weekly, and we will be resuming clips every 3 times a week. If you want to follow us on any of our social medias or support us on our audio platforms, we have this in the description below. And if you want to give us a like, a rating, a comment, a review, or subscribe, we greatly appreciate it.
And as always, until next time.